It's an old-fashioned Canadian nice-off, also known as passive combat. In a nice-off, you say things that generally you mean, but there's often a lot of subtext that isn't said out loud. For that reason, I will be saying what is unsaid by the New Democrat premiers, and I will be speaking for Agents Hummingbird and Wrong in Drag. Agents? What are you talking about, Darkmeat? Oh, sorry, you didn't hear anything. Mo and Danielle, just forget you didn't hear anything. Why don't we just start?
Hi there, Julia Wong, CBC National. This is for Premier Smith. You've said it's worth taking a look at Section 35 of the Constitution, which affirms treaty rights and includes a duty to consult with Indigenous groups. I know that Manitoba Premier Kinew said that he told you he wants it to be respected. I wonder if you brought this up with your counterparts, and if so, what conversations were had?
No, I mean, the way we're going to seek clarity is through the court. We think that the duty to consult is meant to be looked at through a lens of major projects, and we take that very seriously.
We are intentionally pretending to be dumb, like real dumb. It's like when your mom asks you to empty the dishwasher and you don't want to, so you rub your dick against the dishes before you put them away, so that way she won't ask you to do it again, because she thinks you're a little woo-woo, you know?
We had an Indigenous roundtable yesterday where I shared with the premiers how we're using our Alberta Indigenous Opportunities Corporation to help underwrite major project participation, to give revenues to Indigenous nations, and how we want to continue engaging with Indigenous nations on that.
Why does everyone want to make me talk to Indigenous leaders all the time? They always want to go around in the circle and talk about things and share wisdom and all whatnot. And when I try and bribe them, they want to be actually involved in decisions that affect the people who they govern and that. And who do these guys think they are? Nobody who governs anyone cares about how their actions affect people. And why does everyone keep talking about systemic injustice and reconciliation? And why can't they just take bribes like a white people?
But the issue, I think, in the court is whether that duty to consult should apply to citizen-initiated petitions. And that's where I think that the court erred in judgment, and I think it's also anti-democratic, the decision that they made.
I am saying that the courts made an error because I don't like what they said. I haven't gone to law school. I don't know how laws work. My lawyers keep pointing out that my governing style could best be described as chaotic illegal. But I'm going to accuse the judge of being undiplomatic because that's a really good insult to use when you don't actually have a leg to stand on.
But we'll make the arguments in court.
Also, I'm really hoping that David Parker stops leaving horse heads in my bed. I told my husband to stop letting him in the house, but nobody listens to Danielle.
About what the limits to duty to consult ought to be, and we'll see how that conversation goes. There's a couple of rounds that we have to go through, obviously, to Court of Appeal.
I am going to spend so much money fighting to destabilize Canada and unity and all that, because that's what my CIA handler told me to do. He gave me a big cowboy boot filled with the most fun white powder. It gives me white girl magic. Pa-pow, cowboy!
Probably also to the Supreme Court of Canada, but we want to make sure that we have a very clear understanding of what the duty to consult really means and what it doesn't mean, and I think at the moment there's a lack of clarity on that.
I'm playing dumb, in the hopes that people will get mad at me, and then I can play the victim. A large part of fitting in Alberta politics involves playing the victim. Rich people love to play the victim. It's like taking a vacation away from people pointing out that you're victimizing them.
And you've talked a lot about...
Sorry, I'd like to respond.
Wow, it took you a long time to lie your face off. Very inefficient.
So I think we know that is not correct, a lot of what you just said there, Premier Smith.
You are a huge liar, but if I say that outright, people will come to your defense, and I will be painted as the villain for being unkind to a woman who terrorizes children, teachers, and healthcare workers, who she's supposed to be working for. Now I am going to calmly dismantle your lies, which I know is going to bother you a great deal, and I'm going to enjoy doing this.
Specifically, and we spoke about this, so I don't mind repeating this.
I'm going to point out that I've already told you to your face that you're a dishonest creep who steals from her voters and only gets away with it because you're really good at denying, attacking, and reversing victim and offender. And normal people don't know how to fight back against that.
It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government to fulfill the duty to consult.
Do your job. Stop pretending like you don't know how to do your job. You have lawyers who can provide direction. You were elected to hold political office. You were not given unlimited powers, and people did not expect you to act like a needy criminal when they elected you. Winning an election doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. It means that you have a sacred responsibility to act justly, to strive to do what is right for the people who live in your province, and not to work for the people who fund your campaign.
And in this case, when there's clearly going to be an impact on well-established existing hunting and fishing rights by putting up an international border, if some would have their way.
This may all be a game for you, but your actions have consequences. Your inability to campaign on anything but imagined slights and fears of the unknown could mean that people who want to continue to live like their ancestors, hunting and fishing and trapping, who want to collect medicine, would not be able to do so. Moreover, it would require them to live under the rule of whatever new country you'd create, and they have every reason to believe that you would steal from them the same way that you steal from Albertans. And First Nations in Canada have already had so much taken from them by lying government officials and big business. You suck, stop lying.
The judge ruled, and I would agree with the judge's ruling, that that is going to infringe on rights. And so there is a duty to consult. Now, to take a step further, for the Albertan who's been frustrated over the lack of progress on pipelines,
stop blaming the judge. You're not a lawyer, and you've rewritten your own province's laws to get away with heaps of things that your voters should hate you for. You look ridiculous, constantly flouting the law. Everyone else is able to work within this system. Stop acting like just because you have rich owners, you're above the law.
you've got the Premier of BC announcing LNG. We're working on Churchill. We're working on northern trade corridors. This is a moment to get big things built in Manitoba. And I would say now is the time to work together.
The rest of Canada understands that culturally, Albertans are told that they're not allowed to want clean air and clean water for their families, that they're not allowed to want good jobs or healthcare that they can actually use. You've all been conditioned to think that you're only doing good if a foreign investor is getting rich off of moving oil. The rest of Canada sees you, and we understand that you will do everything in your power to protect that delusion. But we are hoping that if we talk nicely to you about pipelines, you will relax and see that you can want more than just for awful Americans to get richer. You can want good things for you and for your family.
Why don't we hold off on this referendum talk for a year or two and see if we get these pipelines under construction?
Shit, I said Manitoba when I meant Canada. I hope nobody notices.
Because at the end of the day, we want Canada to succeed. We're all very proud of this place. I myself am very, very patriotic. And what I think it's important for us to say when we hear this sorts of discussion happening here in Alberta is for us to say, okay, thank you First Nations in Alberta for hitting the pause button on this. Now the rest of Canada, let's work together and show Alberta just how appreciated they are in the rest of this country.
We just need to wait you out until your government collapses and Alberta comes to their senses and elects someone who isn't a CIA asset. We don't hate Alberta. We don't hate Albertans. We're just really tired of you guys acting like the victim when the overwhelming majority of your problems are self-inflicted. Your province could be so cool if you just stopped acting like the only way for you to be happy is for rich Americans to get richer.
And this is why we have the courts, because you can have politicians disagree, and that's why you take it through the court, you take it through the appeals, and you go to the Supreme Court. And ultimately, though, I respect the difference of opinion that Premier Kinew has raised. I think we'll wait to see how our Court of Appeals process goes and see what the courts have to say in the end.
I hate you. I hate you so much. I hate your big, dumb, stupid face. I hate your big, sexy smile. I hate your broad shoulders and your deep voice. I hate the way you make my loins quake.